And first warm up of the day. High hopes today. Let's make it happen. As I make this full comeback, I'm starting to be a little bit more comfortable with taking my original warm-up jumps. And I like to do as minimal work as possible leading up to my working sets to save as much energy as possible for the sets that count. Everything before your working set is nonsense. It's just wasted energy towards the sets that count. So today, going from 2 plates to 4 plates, 5 plates, and then where we end up for our top set is the overall plan. And this here being my last warm-up, you can see that I only do 3 warm-ups, 2 plate, 4 plate, 5 plate, bringing me to 606. Thank you. Today is the first day that I'm actually using hook grip. I'm not using straps, at least for now, but my top set I will continue to use straps because of the bands. The bands at the top seem to not just add weight, but actively pull it down, always making it real pain in the ass for me to hold onto the bar. And this will actually be the heaviest I've ever attempted with bands without straps. Just an experiment. If it starts to pull out of my hands, no big deal. I'll just put on straps and take it again. God, that is such relief. Oh! And with that top single moving the way it did, it's really giving me hope that I will absolutely set a new total PR come December. As I competed in this same meet last year, basically around the same time of year, so I was able to check back what I did last year for deadlift. My top single was a 661, 300 kilograms with no bands. So today, only being 5 kilos off, 11 pounds, with 120 pounds of band tension. I'm really hoping that I'm going to secure a total PR based off of my bench and deadlift, moving very well only here in week 2. And if my squat picks up somewhere in the next 11 or so weeks, I am really excited to see what I can do come December. And now we're moving into the accessories, some horrible, terrible, painful Boris deadlift. So you might notice here that I am flipped around and facing the opposite direction. The reason for that is this ground is slightly sloped in this direction. So I've changed my technique in the last few weeks from how I used to set up, is trying to get in a more upright position by forcing my knees out to get in a more optimal position to better my chances of lifting the most weight, breaking it off the floor. But now, since I'm still rehabbing my right adductor, getting in that position is far too much strain on my leg. So I've been using a lot more lower back erector to break the bar from the ground. So in doing so, facing this opposite direction, it's going to have a tendency to lean me forward and pull me out of balance. I'm going to use that to my advantage to better train my lower erectors to break the bar off the ground in a less than desirable position. And with these Boris deadlifts, breaking it 1.5 reps. Doing so, I'm hoping that I can build up the strength to use my adductor even less than normal, ideally building an extremely strong lower back to where I can break this bar off the ground, pull slack better than ever before, and deadlift 800 solid ass motherfucking pounds. Taking the slots of the box squats today, I've decided to go with the leg press. After that heavy top single and the 3x3 of the Boris deads, my inner thighs, mainly the problematic adductor, is pretty worn down. So I decided to get more quad focused movement today, just trying to drive as much power into my quads as possible. The new stance that I'm using with my squat, with my toes more pointed forward instead of out and driving my knees more forward, I'm becoming a more quad dominant squatter versus prior when I was more of a hip dominant squatter. I move forward with prep, and I will start phasing out squatting and deadlifting in the same day, as when the weights get heavier, the fatigue will just build up too much and it will be unrecoverable. So this is more of a test day to see where I am at with the leg press and how I will be progressing my leg press moving forward when I start to remove squats completely from this second slot of the day. And adding to the benefits of removing squatting from my deadlift day and only having to squat once a week, and potentially in the future only deadlifting once a week, that is 2 squat sessions and 2 deadlift sessions inside the same week, which for me is quite a lot. And potentially removing the squat from my deadlift day will allow me to reduce the amount of work that I'm asking of my lower erectors, my lower back, to then I can drive that energy into something like my stiff-legged deadlifts and my RDLs, as RDLs and stiff-legged deadlifts, in my opinion, will drive a lot more strength into my lower back, ideally helping my new sumo deadlift technique that is asking more of my lower back to break the weight off the floor, giving me the most optimal chance of a stronger deadlift. So I think moving forward, I'm no longer going to squat on this day, but I am going to replace that with the leg press, and I believe I will now be able to push my stiff-legged deadlifts that much harder, which I think will give me the greater return for my investment. And last week I did hit my 2 sets of 6 on this exercise. That usually tells me that I should move up in weight, but these plate jumps on this machine are very heavy. So I will just be adding a 5-pound plate to the stack instead of going up another plate to continue my progression, because 5 pounds is about a third or fourth maybe of one of these plate jumps, but it is still heavier than last week. And we're adding 25 kilos to this stack today. And of course, for this ride, we're strapping in. And now gladly, here at the last movement of the day, completely toasted. On the last movement, the reverse squats, I originally dropped back down to only 80 pounds on that stack. Today, I finally, once again, am back at the full stack at 150 pounds. So I nearly doubled my progress on the reverse squats. And I think that is a major leading cause of my current progress, is finding the right movements for me and what I need at this current time. And I'm going to continue pushing those all the way through prep as hard as I possibly can. I want to see how far I can take them, how much I can put on that stack. And now to the last thing, and then I get to eat. Okay, let's go. And that wraps up the day.